So done. Let's get to the big boy. The material of this one is going to be fantastic. You have to watch it for yourself to realize what I mean. So for this one, we are not going to make that much of a change to it. Instead, we will add some extra features to it using the volume input. First, make the material a unique one and rename it to Anomaly 3. On the color ramp over here, drag the white slider to the left a bit. Then down here on the bump node, increase the strength to 1. And done. Let's get to the volume property. So add a principal volume and a transparent node. Then to combine them together, as you can already guess, add a mix shader. Make the connection like so. Decrease the factor to 0.4. Now let's adjust this principal volume. First of all, decrease the density to 0.12. Then the main effect emanates from this emission strength. Increase it to 3. Let's break it apart. So add a noise texture and plug color into emission color. Set the scale on 5.6, detail 1.8 and roughness on 0.3. Duplicate it and place it after the first one. Disable normalize and this time make sure to use the factor output. Scale 5.8, detail 1, roughness 0.8, laconarity 1.7. Duplicate it once more, place it after the first one, enable normalize, make sure to use the factor output. Scale 5, detail 1.8, roughness 0.3. Laconarity on 2. Let's give it some color. So add a color ramp, place it after the last noise texture. Drag the black slider to the right a lot. Now you will see the magic. Then get the white slider close to the black one as much as possible. Something like that. Then give the white slider a blue tint color. Now this is what I was talking about. See how cool it looks. It is just insane. It really has a lot of depth into it. Nice. Finally, in the solidify modifier, increase the thickness a little bit and to see what it actually does. You see, it changes the effect, so you can get a lot of variations. If you decrease that, you see what happens. So this is totally up to you. The final part of our environment design will be dedicated to make this watchtower. So to make our lives much easier, open a new blend file and delete everything. And let's start modeling. We start by modeling this part down here. So Shift A in the mesh, add a plane. For the scale of it, set the dimension X on 2.5 and Y on 4. Then press R, X 90. Go into edit mode, press Ctrl R to add an edge loop, a vertical one. Accept it, then from the loop cut menu, set the number of cuts on 50. Now select all the vertical edges, press F3 and search for checker deselect, which is this one. If we add it, you can see what it does. Now press GY, move them back a little bit, that's enough. Now go to the modifiers panel and give it the subdivision surface modifier. Give it 3 levels both for viewport and render. Right click to shade auto smooth. There you have it. I guess if we move them back a bit more, yeah, this is better now. Next up, let's model this part. So hide this one for now, then add another plane. The same dimensions, X 2.5, Y on 4. Go to top view, edit mode, pick the vertex selection tool. Select these two vertices, right click, subdivide to add a new vertex between them. Then these two vertices, right click, subdivide. Now select these two vertices, press J to add an edge between them. Then these two, press J. These two, J, and finally these two, press J. Jump back into object mode, go to the modifiers panel. From the generate, give it the wireframe. If we take a closer look, we can see there is a circular part in the middle. Well, we can simply add a cylinder and scale it down, but we need to have a connected mesh. So to get that nice effect, give it the bevel modifier. Now we are talking. If you press Ctrl A to apply the scale, you will lose the effect. So don't do it for now. The bevel is fine. On the wireframe, increase the thickness to 0.1. That's much better now. If you are happy with the result, you can apply the modifiers. Press RX90. Now go into edit mode, enable the wireframe, and pick the face selection tool. Select these faces. Let's check if they are selected. Yeah. Press P, separate by selection. Jump back into object mode, select this part and press X to delete because we don't need it anymore. Pick this new part, RX90. Unhide the first part and let's match them together. If needed, like in my case, scale it up a little bit. Now this is really fine. Select both of them and move them forward. Make some room to add a cube. Dimension X and Y on 2.5 and Z on 4. Press G, Z, hold down the Control key to set it exactly on the grid. Then select these two, G, Z, hold down the Control key, set them exactly on the grid, move them back, place them exactly on the cube. Yeah, this seems fine. This cube works as a reference to have a better understanding of the tower. Duplicate the cube, press S, Shift Z, scale it down a lot. Go to top view and adjust it like so. Duplicate it once more, RY90. Move it down over here, press SX to scale it down on the x-axis. Something like that. Now select everything and just to be sure, press Ctrl A to apply the rotation and scale. Select this bottom part, select the bottom part and give it the array modifier. We want to array it on the z-axis, so set the factor x on 0, then increase the factor z to move it up like so. Place it somewhere around here, something like that. Then increase the count to 5. Now pick this one, give it the array modifier. Set the factor x on 0 and increase the factor z. I guess for this one we can go straight for 1. Yeah, it works. Increase the count to 4. Nice. Then select these two, shift select this column to make it the active object. Open the array drop-down menu and choose copy to select it. There you have it. Pick this part and decrease the count to 2, as we exactly have in the reference. Now press Shift S, choose cursor to world origin, then set the pivot point on 3D cursor. Select this column, press Shift D to make a duplicate. Don't touch anything, press RZ90. So what we just did was only one action, and if we press Shift R, we can repeat the last action. Do it 2 times, and there you have it in place. Now select this part, Shift D, RZ90, then press Shift R twice. So select these two, Shift D, RZ90, then Shift R. There you have them nicely in place. Let's get to the top part over here. So add a new cube and move it up. Dimension X and Y on 6, Z on 4.5. Go to the object panel, open viewport display, set the display as to wire. This cube is also a reference. Now adjust it in place like so. Go into edit mode, select this edge, Shift S, cursor to selected. Then pick this column, Shift D to make a duplicate and remove the array modifier. Shift S, selection to cursor. If needed, scale it up on the z-axis, like so. Select the cube, go into edit mode, pick this edge, Shift S, cursor to selected. Select the column, Shift D, make a duplicate, Shift S, selection to cursor. Set the rotation Y on 90. Then if needed, press SX, scale it up on the x-axis. press SZ, scale it down on the Z-axis a little bit to give it some variation. Select the cube, edit mode, pick this edge, Shift S, cursor to selected. Pick this new part, Shift D, duplicate, Shift S, selection to cursor. Go into edit mode, press Ctrl R to add a horizontal edge loop. Move it up a little bit, here seems nice. Select this face, press E, extrude it like so. So this seems nice. This is exactly what we have in the reference. Now over here, Shift right click to set the 3D cursor here. Duplicate the column, decrease the dimension X and Y to make it thinner. This seems nice. Then Shift S, selection to cursor. Numpad 3 to go into side view. Press R, hold down the control key to rotate it by 45 degrees. You can check it from here. So this is 45. Press S, then Z twice, so that you can scale it down on its local Z axis. Then simply adjust it in place. So this seems nice. I really like that. Go to top view, Shift D to make it duplicate, press R, rotate it by 90 degrees. Then slightly adjust it in place, like so. Select both of them, duplicate them, move them up. Go to top view, press R, rotate them by 180 degrees. Move them over here. Place them over here. Select the top part, duplicate, move it towards the middle a little bit. Duplicate it once more, this time move it down. And try to adjust it in place. Then select this column, Shift D to make a duplicate. Set the pivot point on individual origins. Press S, Z, scale it down on the Z axis. Then S, Shift Z, scale it up like so. Then simply move it up. This is the exact same thing that we have in the reference picture, as you can see here. Let's go to top view and select this part that is close to the middle. Duplicate it and set the location Y on 0. Then the rotation Z on 45. If needed, press S, Z twice, scale it up to adjust it in place like so. Then Shift D, R, Z, 90. There you have it. And done. Let's fill the other sides. So Shift S, cursor toward origin. Set the pivot point back on 3D cursor. We start from the bottom over here. Select these two, Shift D, R, Z, 90. Then Shift R, Shift R. Then select these two, Shift D, R, Z, 90. Shift R twice. Then select these two, Shift D, R, Z, 90. Shift R twice. Select these two on top, Shift D, R, Z, 90. Shift R twice. Now select these four, Shift D, R, Z, 90. Shift R twice. There you have them nicely in place. What could be better than that? The last part is this sailing-like part. So add a plane and then move it up. Set dimension X and Y on 6. Go into edit mode, select these two vertices, press J to add an edge between them. Then these two, J, add an edge. Select this new vertex in the middle, G, Z, move it up. Jump back into object mode, adjust it in place. And if you think it is small, you can of course increase the dimensions to make it a bit bigger. Then adjust it in place until it looks reasonable. Something like that. Now we should replicate this part that we also made for the bottom part here. So add a new plane and then move it up. Set the rotation X on 90. Move it forward, adjust it in place like so. Set the dimension X and Y on 8. Go into edit mode, Ctrl R to add a vertical edge loop. Then set the number of cuts on 100. Select all the vertical edges, F3, search for checker deselect. Then G, Y, move them back a little bit to give them a nice effect. From the modifiers panel, give it the subdivision surface. Set both levels on 3. Right click to shade auto smooth. Select the sailing, go into edit mode, select this face. Press Shift D to make a duplicate, right click to drop it in the same place. Press P to separate it by selection. Jump back into object mode, select the separated part, go into edit mode. Make sure it is selected. Press E to extrude it like so. Then go to side view. As you can see it has been a little askew. So press GY, move it forward until you have this straight line like so. Now select the new sailing, go to side view, move it back, set the pivot point back on individual origins, rotate it until it matches the rotation of the sailing. We are going to run a Boolean operation. So select both of them, Ctrl A to apply the rotation and scale. Select the separated part, Shift select the new sailing to make it the active object. Press Shift Ctrl B to run a Boolean operation, and from the brush Boolean, choose intersect. There you have it nicely in place. So if you are happy with the result, select the new sailing in the modifiers panel. Here you can see the Boolean modifier. Just simply apply it. Now we can get rid of this Boolean object. Then we can simply adjust it a bit more in place. Set the pivot point back on 3D cursor, Shift D or Z 90. Shift R, Shift R. There you have them. So that's it. Now if you like, you can select this part and delete it because it was just a reference. Now let's get down over here and select this part. Shift D, move it up, remove the array modifier. Set the rotation X on 90. Move it up and place it here. Decrease the dimension X until it matches. Something like that looks nice. Duplicate it, place it after the first one. Move it up a little bit, just a tiny bit, that's enough. Now select both of them, Shift D, R, Z, 90. Then Shift R twice. Then simply move these parts up to avoid intersections. Next up, we will make the ladder. For the ladder, we use another method, which is using curves. Curves are fantastic. So to make the ladder, press Shift A in the curve, add a circle. Press the forward slash key to isolate it. If we go into edit mode, you can see what is going on here. So head over to the curve data panel and under geometry, increase the depth to give it some thickness. Let's go for 0.06. You can always adjust that. Then if you think it is a bit jaggy and broken, here you can play around with the resolution property. For example, if you set it on 32, you will get a much better result. But it is not actually needed to give it that much geometry. So let's go for 20. Exit the isolation mode. We should adjust the scale of it. So scale it down until you get a reasonable look. Press Ctrl A to apply the scale. Then in the modifiers panel, give it the array modifier. Set the factor X on 0, then increase the factor Z. I guess somewhere around 25 will actually replicate what we have in real life. Increase the count to 10 or 11 or 12. And if it goes too high, simply just move it down like so. This bottom part will go underground, so don't worry about it. Again, isolate it, go into edit mode and select one of the vertices. And it doesn't matter which one. Press Shift D to make a duplicate. Right click to drop it in the same place. Then press P to separate it by selection. For the curves, if you just press P, it will separate it. So go to the object mode, select the new curve and go into edit mode. Remove the array modifier. It is selected, go into edit mode. Make sure it is selected, then press E, extrude it up until the last ring. Go into edit mode. Then in the curve data panel, decrease the depth a little bit. Let's go for 0.04. Now press Shift D or Z90. Shift R twice. There you have them in place. Nice. Let's make the ladder itself. So add another Bezier circle. RX90. Go into edit mode and make sure all the vertices are selected. Then press V and set their handle type on vector. Then set the rotation Y on 45. V and set the... Let's move it down and adjust it like so. Then move it back a little bit. This will seem nice. Again, go into edit mode. Make sure all the vertices are selected. Press SX. Scale them down to match them with the rings. Then increase the depth to 0.03 x. Now select these two vertices on top. Shift D to make a duplicate and then move them down. Try to place them in the middle. These two vertices, and as you can see, this duplicated part is a bit thicker. So with it selected, press Alt S to scale it down. Duplicated part as easy as that. So this looks nice. Now Ctrl A to apply a scale and rotation. Then give it the array modifier. This looks nice. Now factor X on 0, then increase the factor Z. Let's go for 1 to see what we have. So we should pick a value for it lower than 1 until we get this result. Finally, increase the count to match it with the last ring up there. There you have it. And here is a very nice point. Since they are all curves, you can still pick any vertex and make any sort of adjustment that you like. You can still, so you definitely have this option. Exit the isolation mode to see what we have. Yeah, it looks perfect, but here is a point. Let's select this ladder, press R, Z minus 90 to set it over here. This is what we had in the reference picture. Now let's get ready to texture this tower.